What's good, everybody? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of the Celebrity Junk. I'd like to have a conversation that's going to be a little bit controversial. In this regards, one Sydney Star. Those of you who know Sydney Star is considered to be in the LGBTQ community, self-appointed member of that community, a transgender. Some may even consider or have the phrase transgender woman, trans woman. Those are the characteristics of Sydney Star. But Sydney Star came into controversy when Sydney Star said that Chingy was in a relationship with Sydney Star. But Sydney Star is back at it again in reference to straight men. And this question was asked to Sydney, and that was, what would most men do? Would they have sexual contact with a transgender person if no one would know? So let me go ahead and play this clip, and then I'm going to come back.
How many men do you think are actually on that type of time? Like, if nobody would know, or if it wouldn't get out?
I would say good question about that. I would give it at least 80%.
80%.
80%. 80%.
So that's saying walking in a room of 10 men, 8 of them, if no one would know.
Yes.
There you go.
80%.
That's
you just have to be very. Go ahead. You have to be very passable for the 80% though.
Okay, so you've heard that particular argument, and again, I believe I've never seen Sydney Star with somebody of another race. I've only seen Sydney Star in relation to black men, and of course, what people like to try to insinuate is that somehow or another, black men are more gay than we think. This is what you hear a lot. You hear it a lot. It's something that is out there. And I noticed that what Sydney Star said was, well, there's one catch. The person needs to be passable. So my question is this: passable. Why does the person need to be passable? Because, and I'm trying to understand, like, so if the person is passable and 80% of these men would do it, well, this person is trying to become passable to look like what is, traditionally a woman. It's so convoluted in that. I mean, obviously you're gonna have people that would go for that, but the point of it is this, okay? Some individuals, and I've seen this. I've seen many stories of, let's say, for example, a man finds out that something very tragic happens to the other party. The reality is, how about that most guys just don't want to engage into that because they don't like it, instead of trying to skew it and say, well, you know what? If did nobody know, they'd do it. Well, you know what? Maybe if that wasn't, what you were, maybe if it was you were born what the man wants, then the conversation will be there. And that's the agenda I'm seeing now, which is interesting, is always trying to make somebody go to the opposite side. And in my honest opinion, it's not like, I really don't hear, let me just say this. I know there are certain people that's fashion, or you would hear a lot of, I don't really hear that a lot. I used to kind of hear it a little bit, when I was coming up. But I don't really hear it now, maybe because of fear of what may happen. But even back then, most guys who are clearly not interested in going the opposite way don't even really waste their time even considering something like that. They don't waste their time considering that. Okay? They don't. So let's make the guys who clearly don't have a problem with the or with transgender, whatever it is. Most guys just, if they don't have an issue with it, they just don't want to be around what that is. That's all it is. So they just don't want to be around it. Now what you're seeing is, let's make these people who don't want to be around it and say they will do it if this situation is the case. That'd be almost like saying, well, you know what? A guy who's living a style, if he had a chance to be with a woman and didn't nobody know it, he'd clap those cheeks. Yes, he would. He'd clap those. And like, do you know how ridiculous that something like that like sounds? Like, do you know a person that is, but you know, she'd have to look very manly to do it. Do you know how, I mean, I don't even understand. Let's see if we were to say it on the opposite side. Do you know how I think a person would think that somebody was so silly to hear something like that? Like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm living this lifestyle because that's what I'm living. Okay? You don't see guys who are living a style like, man, you know what? Ain't nobody looking at these cheeks right now. This beautiful woman here. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and take her down, brother, because, you know, don't nobody know that I'm gonna do this, so I'm gonna go ahead on and do it. How about the fact that he just don't want to do it? He doesn't want to do it because, well, why? He is, as a man, he lives a lifestyle, or by whatever lifestyle he's living, asexual. He don't want to do it. You can't try to put a narrative to that to do it. Now, you may have some guys who are willing to do that. Guess what? They're not heterosexual. If a man knows that a person is living a certain lifestyle and behind closed doors, they're willing to engage it. Most often than not, unless it's like a prison thing, that person may be straight acting, but they're not heterosexual. Heterosexual means I am dealing with the opposite gender. Clearly, point blank. That's what I'm doing. I'm not doing nothing else. Now, if you want to make it something else because that's what you think, that's different. But don't try to put your agenda on people because you feel like, you know what? Let's make these people out here 80% of men. Girl, you know, be because they might be way, which obviously you're talking about a group of people I honestly feel that is not even concerned about hating on, or, you know, they just have a preference for what they like, which is their right. And I'm seeing this a lot more in the media. So guys, what do you think? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Junk. Pretty sure you do subscribe to the bell. We're out.